Donna. I'm an entrepreneur with an emerging business in bespoke, eco-friendly hair and skin products. I use my own products, of course, and all my staff are contractually obliged to, including the lab staff. We hardly have any convincing to do with potential clients. They ask how we have such fantastic skin and hair. We tell them, bam, the sale makes itself. I've had my doubts and disbeliefs, my starting problems, my dark nights of the soul, and eureka moments. But now, the business is on a distinct upward trajectory. It's beyond thrilling, of course, but also scarifying. Because I can't stop focusing on the missteps and stumbles I've made along the way. I've put my intuitive gut often to that subject late at night and equally often fresh during the day. I've given it my best intellectual energy. Why is it that I can't just let go of the past and fly free? And the one thing I keep coming back to, the one person, is Donna. My troubled history with her and the freshness of every memory, though it's been nigh on 30 years now. She bent my reality in the years I knew her and was subject to her mental machinations. That I know and accept. I was a kid then. But that those effects not just linger, but still have the ability to bend my reality decades later, that seems just nuts. Why does she have this hold on me? And why have I let her have it, competent and achieving as I am? I haven't seen Donna since my family left and I was pulled out from under her fist. But I think I must. I must face her again. This nonsense is my mind playing tricks with me, I'm sure of it. Nothing so terrifying as the imagined monster because it knows all the weaknesses to exploit. I have big plans for myself, and there's no place for her in them. I've told myself, I can do this by myself. I can cast her out. It only takes effort. More effort. Still more effort. Till finally, I've accepted, by myself isn't working. I have to confront her. We were new in town. I'd been in that school barely a few days when she targeted me. We were the same age and in the same class, but I was new and hesitant and she was established and confident. She lived past my house and must have observed me being walked to school the first few days. She rang our doorbell and suggested to my mum that we could come and go together and she'd take care of the new girl. For the next 2 years, she called me new girl, never once acknowledging I even had a name, leave alone taking the trouble to learn it. Soon I was walking to her house first to pick her up and carry her bag, and after school past my house to drop her and her bag home before going home myself. She picked and chose what she ate from my lunchbox. If she wanted it all, well then, bad luck for me, for it wasn't a reciprocal arrangement. And I never tried, more than once, to hold any of it back from her. I did my assignments and handed them over to be copied. They'd be returned to me to make changes in my own text so that the teachers wouldn't catch on. I could go on and on. The list is embarrassingly long. She never laid a finger on me, ever. But she mentally dominated and controlled me completely. I don't recall anybody noticing or caring, since it was in the days before bullying was a zero-tolerance subject. I wasn't particularly weak and didn't submit to anyone else similarly, but she was able to flick me about at will. She didn't treat anyone else that way either. She'd singled me out for that favor. The other kids didn't mess with her, probably for fear of redirecting her favor to themselves. Yet, for all I accommodated her every spoken or unspoken command, an innermost core of me remained inviolate, out of her reach. Alone, manipulated and friendless, but free. She was aware of it, but pretended it didn't exist because she knew she couldn't touch it. It was my sole tether to self-respect. I wasn't particularly great at athletics or art or music, but I loved science, math, and storybooks, and could create fantasy worlds in my head to withdraw into. And that's what saved me. Maybe that was good enough for then. Not so good now. Retreat remains my preferred option. I'm still slow to stand up for myself. My instinct is to back down if challenged, even mildly, even by my own employees. Every innocent remark is a mountain, a battle. Every reasonable doubt is a knockout blow to my very being. It's pathetic. I know. You wouldn't think it if you met me. I've trained myself to respond, though it takes every gut-wrenching bit of effort I can muster. Draining. Life should be easier, right? Hence this journey to the past. I stopped at a restaurant for lunch, fielded questions about my magnolia complexion and bouncing hair, and tactfully extracted information about Donna. Still in this town, that was good, and married now, I was told. I even got someone to look her up in the phone book. The pavement outside her home should have been made of fire and brimstone for all the trouble I had treading it. But decades of self-training had got me to the stage where, by sheer force of will, I could make myself do all the things I dreaded. A young boy, about 12, opened the door. Acne-ridden skin, I couldn't help noticing. "I'm looking for Donna," I said. He called over his shoulder. "Mom, there's a lady to see you." "Stylish." "What does she want?" came the reply. "I was at school with her," I informed him, "and since I was passing through, thought it would be nice to say hello." "She says she was in school with you," he relayed, looking me up and down. "But I don't think that's true." "You're a cheeky sod," I countered, as I heard footsteps coming through the corridor and guessed my interview with the youngster was over. I didn't recognize the woman who slouched forward. Her hands smoothed her dress, but it puckered tightly and was clearly too stretched over those hips. Her skin was mottled and blotchy, and her hair looked like it had been stuffed into that ponytail without running the most cursory hairbrush over it. Her eyes were hooded and defensive. The boy peered around her till she shooed him off. "Do I know you?" she asked. "Are you Donna?" I replied, fairly flabbergasted. "Perhaps," she said, sounding a bit like the old Donna, who'd never give anyone the upper hand if she could help it. "We were once in school together, and since I was passing through, I thought I'd drop in and say hello," I repeated. Her eyes narrowed. She suspected something. "It doesn't matter," I offered, still standing on the top step and evidently not going to be invited further. I can see it's inconvenient. Perhaps another time I'll call and come, I said, knowing full well there'd never be another time. This poor woman would have had trouble controlling a bowl of pudding. The shackles had fallen from my feet. The band had burst from around my chest. The monster had been of my own making. I was free! I was free! As I turned to go down the stairs, I heard a slow intake of breath. Rita. I spun around in shock. You knew my name? The glint of splintered glass was back in those instantly familiar eyes. She seemed to have grown taller and slimmer in that second, and I felt the weight of her thraldom reach towards me with urgent fingers. Before they could get their hooks into me, I fled down the steps and past the other houses, not waiting for the taxi I'd come in, madly desperate to put as much distance as I could between us. I heard the cabbie start up his engine and follow me as I raced around the corner. But what filled my head was her ringing voice. "Oh, you'll be back, new girl."